So now let's look into advanced exercise in GitHub and Git. So here we will use Visual Studio Code for Git and GitHub. So in this, what we are going to do is, in spite of using Git Bash, we will use Visual Studio Code. Okay, the purpose would be same, but it's much simple, so and much intuitive. So here what will we do is uh, VS Code for GitHub and Git. That's and first activity here is open, create a public repository in GitHub account, then open your VS Code and go to Git section and clone the remote repository. Then once that is done, now let's give a destination local address to the remote repo. Then we'll start writing our files and modules, uh, add the changes, commit the changes, and push the changes. So this is the exercise we are going to do. So let's get into the action. Let me go to the VS Code first and click on your repositories. So here I will create a new repository. I'll say this GitHub and GitHub remote repo, and this repository, this is a remote repository for the purpose of experimenting with VS Code. So let me create a public repository, not private one, and let me add a readme file and click create repository. So our repository has been created with the main branch, and you can see that readme.markdown file here. So let me copy the URL, HTTPS URL of this repository, and then let me open a Visual Studio Code. So Visual Studio Code has been opened. So let me click on, I think, let me click on Git and go to this three dot menu bar. So three dot menu. So it pops up a vertical menu bar. In this you will get all the information, all the various activities that can be done in Git. Basically these are all commands. So push, pull, clone, checkout, fetch, commit, changes, pull, push, branch, remote. Even in branch you have all the options. So instead of giving commands, actually you can interactively, intuitively, by selecting the commands, you can do the operations. That is the only difference. But I always prefer GitHub, I always prefer Git bash rather than VS Code or Intelli, uh, or any other text editors or any other um, tools that are presently available in the market. Any other IDE, integrated development environments, presently available in the market, because that's where you use your command and you look into each and every detail in proper. So you involve yourself inside into the activity. So that's where you'll get the complete exposure of how things are going on, what's happening behind, and what you can do and how to solve that. But here in this case, it's like kids play. You just select, 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 select. That's it. Okay, that's fine. It's all up to you. What do you want to do? Which one you want to use? Of course, using VS Code is much easier because you don't need to type commands. You just need to select. Okay. So let me. So you can add that remote. You can remove the remote from here. Then we have created the tags using tag command. So you can create using by selecting here. Then so let me go to the clone, click on clone. So now, so let me paste that URL here. Now I say clone from GitHub. So once we say clone from GitHub, it will bring all the repositories that are available in that GitHub. You see that? So I will click on the latest one because it's a GitHub remote. Yeah. So now it is asking me to select a repository destination. Repository destination. So I will select a repository destination now. Go to the D and then I would go for them like my YouTube channel, IDEOps course, and then in that CI/CD pipeline. It's Git and hands-on. In hands-on, I'm going to select a new folder. Create a new folder saying VS Code Git GitHub exercise 1. So let me select as a repository destination and click OK. So now it is cloning that. So would you like to open the cloned repository or add it to the current workspace? I would say open here, not in new window. I don't want new window. So you can see that everything has been cloned and you can see that GitHub remote repo. GitHub remote repo. This is what the remote repository is. So now I will go to that folder and I'll show you in hands-on GitHub. I think it's VS Code. Yeah, here. You see that? You got the GitHub remote repo. It's been cloned. Yes, you see that? Readme.file. Let me open this. You see that? GitHub remote repo. I think now it's clear. It's pretty much clear. So, but before that, what I would like to tell you is the one most important thing to be done before working with the Git in your VS Code is you have to configure your Git. How do you do? You will have, as usual, you have to install your plugin, Git plugin. Once the plugin has been installed, you just write down the process. Okay, or else I will only write. So, how to configure Git in VS Code. So, first step is to click on plugins and install git plugin. Then once the plugin has been installed, it will ask you to log into the system. So provide your GitHub credentials, that is password, username and password. So once logged into the GitHub, once logged in is done and the credentials are accepted, so it's all set, because this VS Code will connect with your GitHub, and it will take your GitHub repositories as remote repositories. Okay, so that's how this is very important. I hope most of the people you might have known how to install the plugins in it. Okay, um, anyway, I will show you that, but by this moment we have completed create a public repository, and then open your VS Code and go to the Git section and clone the remote repository is also done. Then give a destination local address to the remote repo, that's also done. Now we have to start writing our files and modules. Okay, but before that I will show you. So here you can see that extensions, here you can see run and debug, and here you can see, so basically when you go to the settings, or if you just type, so you can easily find out your plugins here. So once you click on your plugins or extensions, uh, you can see that, so git history, because for me git has been installed, and git patch, git auto config, git repo. Of course all these are not required, at least you have to install git. So if it is latest one, by default git will be installed, or else you have to install it if it is your, if your VS Code is very old version, then so you have to install this extension, or else it's not required. Okay, so now let's get back to our work. So this is our local repo. So you just look into this vertical menu bar. So now we are in Explorer section. So Explorer section, this is our menu, this is our local repository. So I will click, I'll create a file. I would say uh, calculator dot python. So I'll download some simple code from internet, anything. So calculator python code, anything. I'll just take a few pieces of python code from here, so that okay, there are a lot much, I just want to copy a few things. Okay, I'll just copy the initial module, I think complete. Let me take this one, and if it is required, I'll see. This is the simplest one anyway, so let me paste it here. You can see that I'm not here to explain this piece of code here. So anyway, I have done Python course. So if you want to learn about Python, you just visit Intuitive Python for You course. You just watch that course. And I'm gonna do course on artificial intelligence also. So if you want to learn more, just stick with me. No problem at all. So let me execute and see. whether it's a working code or not. Okay, so enter choice 4 4 4. Yeah, that's fine. Let's do the next calculation. S 4 2 4 5. Okay, that's okay. So it's working fine anyway. So now our calculator app is ready. So now what we have to do is we have to push this code into remote repository so that everybody can see, so that whoever part of our team can view it, and if they want to suggest new changes or if they want to add few more modules to it, they can add it. Okay, so for that what I will do is, so now we are in explorer section. Now let me come to the source control section. So in this you can see Git source control section has been highlighted with the one, okay, one round icon. So what it is saying is excuse me, yeah, so what it is saying is changes. So changes, one changes has been done, one changes have been done. So now would you like to add them? Because normally whenever you do the changes we say git add dot, then the changes will be added. But here in this case you just click on plus, all changes will be added. So I am clicking on plus symbol, you see, and all changes has been added. You see that staged changes 1. So now these changes has been moved into staging area. These changes has been added, these changes have been added into staging area or index area. So that's what it's saying, staged changes. Before they were normal changes, once you click on plus it's become staged changes. If you click on minus, this changes will be taken out of index or staging area. Anyway, that is not important for us now. So let me commit now. To commit, I will type a commit message. This is the first commit of calculator application using Python lang. Okay, first commit of calculator, that's more than enough. So now let me click on just commit. So you have three options when you click on the drop down menu, drop down button of commit. So you have three options: commit, commit and push, and commit and sync. Okay, when you click on drop down button of commit button, so you will find three options. One is commit, commit and push, commit and sync. So we'll do commit now, and for now we'll do commit. So now commit has been done, commit has been done. So now let's give a message to push it, basically synchronization, synchronize changes. This is our first push in this repo. So then let me click on sync changes. So it's taking some time, but finally the changes has been done. So the changes has been synchronized. So now let us get into the GitHub and see what's going to happen. Let me refresh the page. Here is the app, calculator.py. Find it? Got it? I think you might have found this VS Code. Using VS Code for the Git is much easier than Git Bash. Of course it's easier because you're just pressing the buttons. You're just pressing the buttons, nothing else, nothing much you're doing. So that's the reason you feel it's easier, but that's okay. All depends upon your preferences, what you like more. I like to go with Git Bash. not a Visual Studio Code or something else. But in some cases, when you're working on big projects, so that time you have to write a big modules in VS Code. In that case, you can directly use from VS Code, or you can use Git Bash, whatever you want. Okay, so this is all done. So now we are going to add one more file. So that is this time we will add the index.html template. So I have moved to Explorer section again. So let me click on a new file here, and I would type index.html. This is HTML page, and we will download some sample HTML templates. Anything is fine. Okay, there are a lot of we want just a simple piece of code. Actually, I don't want all those things. Just to okay, here also I think we are not getting a proper example. In that case, mm, yeah, I think this is more than enough. Let's take this. Just some piece of code. Of course, we can write our own code. It's not a big deal, but I just want to attach. Yeah, this looks a little better. I'll take from body to body. Yeah, body to body I'll take. Rest all will create. So here, this is our HTML snippet. So here I'll write this is like sample website, and then inside of this body I'm gonna paste our body that we have copied. So rest all done. If you want to live check this, how does it look like, you can just click on go live, and you can check it. So that's absolutely fine. Okay, something lorem ipsum dollar something, it's there, it's obviously fine. That's not the issue for us. So let's get into our work now. So now edition has been done. Now it's time to add this file into the remote repository. So here you can see that the changes has been highlighted. Now you just click on the plus symbol, so that these changes will be staged, these changes will be indexed. So once the changes has been staged or indexed, now it's time to commit. So this is our second commit, and you will directly say commit and push this time. So it's committing and then it's pushing. So with one click, commit and push has been done. So it's synchronized. Let's get into the Git hub and we'll see what's the status. So GitHub, let me go scroll up a bit. So get back to the my repository. Here it is. You got the index.html. So that's it. It's that simple. It's not that difficult. If you deal with a git bash, you have to write your commands and subcommands and then options, and a lot of stuff is there. Whereas here, you just mention the file names. That's it. It's all done. That's how basically all the developers who work on the same project, they collaborate through Visual Studio Code. You can do the same using IntelliJ path also. So with this, let's get into our, yeah, you see, activities. Fourth activity is completed, writing of files and modules. It's done. So add the changes to the staging area, also done. Then commit the changes is also done, and finally push the changes into the staging area. So with this we are able to successfully demonstrate the uses of Visual Studio Code with the Git and GitHub for your projects.